watching the Star Wars edition of the Ragin Nation Show. This is Webster's where we talk about all things matter to me in the world of Star Wars films. This is episode number 31, and in this episode we are going to start off with a box office update for Rogue One, a Star Wars story. After 5 weeks of release, Rogue One, the very first Star Wars story film, has made over $1 billion. To be exact, $1,012,000,000. That is huge. The surprising thing is that the domestic box office, which is of course North America alone, actually makes up more than the foreign box office take. The domestic box office was $512 million, whereas the foreign box office makes up just under $500 million, which is surprising because it just opened in China just a little bit over 2 weeks ago. But after a little bit over 2 weeks, China has only accumulated $61 million, which is surprising because it has Donnie Yen and Jiang Wen in it. And I thought it would just, make up a bigger box office take, but apparently not. Apparently, China isn't big on Star Wars. They never got to see the original trilogy in the theaters when it first came out. They only got introduced to the prequels, which I'm pretty sure they didn't care too much about, and The Force Awakens, which was kind of like their first real exposure to Star Wars. But in any case, the UK actually dominated the foreign box office take at $77 million. Now, this would make the third time for a 2016 film where Disney actually made $1 billion. There was, of course, Captain America Civil War, Finding Dory, and now Rogue One, a Star Wars story. All three of which are Disney properties which have made $1 billion. So, as long as they're making more Pixar films, as long as they're making more Marvel films in the cinematic universe, as long as they're making more Star Wars films, they sure got guaranteed winners at the box office. Anyways, there's still, of course, a couple more weeks to go before the end of its theatrical run, and I'm just hoping that Rogue One, a Star Wars story, beats The Phantom Menace. And I'm sure it will. It has already beaten The Dark Knight worldwide, and it's on its way to beating The Dark Knight domestically. So, anyways, that's a pretty big deal. It's just surprising to know that Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which is the prequel that the hardcore fans, the true Star Wars fans have been waiting for, made half of what The Force Awakens made. The Force Awakens made $2 billion worldwide. Rogue One made half of that. I guess, Force Awakens is a film that appeals to a much wider audience. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to be a Star Wars fan to enjoy The Force Awakens. However, Rogue One appeals definitely more to the hardcore fans. So anyways, $1 billion is a huge success. Congratulations to Disney and Lucasfilm. Moving on, let's talk about the future of the Star Wars stories, and that is, of course, we got the Han Solo film, and then there's the much talked about Boba Fett origin story, which we don't know too much about, but we do know is that the Han Solo film is casting right now. We got Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian, a casting choice which I'm really happy about, and then they just recently cast Woody Harrelson. And when I think of Woody Harrelson in a Star Wars film, the first thing I think of is how he's like a mentor character to Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games. And it looks like that isn't too far off because apparently it's just been confirmed by Woody Harrelson himself that he will be playing a mentor character to Han Solo. And that character is, as a matter of fact, a character that we've known about if you have read the Star Wars novels. One of those Star Wars novels is called A Paradise Snare. It was published in 1997 and it was written by N.C. Crispin, and that is when the character of Garrus Shrike first appears. Garrus Shrike is the character that Woody Harrelson is going to be playing, and who he is a mentor character and somebody who trained a young Han Solo. One thing that was covered in the novels is that his character was actually quite abusive to the Han Solo character, and that is why they actually separated. They drifted apart from each other because Han Solo couldn't handle his abusive and violent nature. But that is a part of his character that makes his character stand out. I don't know how much of that they're going to incorporate into the Han Solo story, but it would be great to see whatever they can put in for his character, because after all, that is a very, very intriguing character dynamic. Anyways, that's what we know about the Han Solo film so far. That's a lot of so's. Anyways, what is coming up next? Of course, Episode 8. And we do have an official title for Star Wars Episode 8, which was announced this morning, and that is Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Who is the Last Jedi? That is the biggest question right now. Is it Luke Skywalker? Is it Rey? Rey didn't even know she had the abilities of the Force. She didn't know even how to use them. She's just a scavenger. Why would she be a Jedi? Or could it be Leia? Could she be the Last Jedi? Who knows? It is really unfortunate for the passing of Carrie Fisher. That was very, very sad and tragic. It's been almost a month, and yet I've still haven't really gotten over it. I can't believe she's gone. You know, it's affected a lot of people, not just Star Wars fans, but people who are a fan of her as an actress and as a human being. But of course, this has affected a lot of Star Wars fans, and it has directly affected the production of the next film, which is Episode 9. Because in Episode 8, apparently her role as a general is even bigger than that of her role in Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Fortunately, her scenes have all been filmed for Episode 8. But her role was actually supposed to grow even bigger in Episode 9. So that is the biggest deal right now that Disney is dealing with. So what had happened recently is that there was a brain trust that met to talk about the future of her character and how they're going to handle this. But one thing that they did confirm to us, as in the public and the fans, is that they have no intentions and no plans to digitally recreate Princess Leia, or rather General Leia Organa. They have no plans to digitally recreate her. I don't know what my thoughts are about that. I mean, in a way I feel like, okay, I'm glad they're not doing it just to pay respect to Carrie Fisher, but at the same time I feel like, you know, the technology for digital recreation of you know, actors who have passed on, that technology, while it's still quite young and still in a stage where it's constantly improving itself, it is still a great technology. Like they brought back Grand Moff Tarkin. They showed us a young version of Princess Leia in Rogue One, and I thought that was brilliant. Even though it looks a little bit off, it was just good enough that it made me feel like this is a great part of the story. And heck, they even did that with Paul Walker in Fast and Furious 7. And I think they did a great job with that. So in a way, I feel like I wouldn't have minded if they actually did that. But I just think there's a huge challenge considering that her role in Episode 9 is going to be even bigger. So what I'm thinking is that they're going to have to change a lot of original plans that they had for Episode 9 for her character. They might even have to rewrite the entire thing. Maybe not the entire thing, but a huge part of it, considering that she plays a major role in Episode 9. So what I think is going to happen is that they're actually going to, this is what I'm thinking, okay, this is just my theory, is that even though she has a bigger role in Episode 8, and she filmed all her scenes for Episode 8, I think that what's going to happen is that they're going to cut back some of her scenes. That's what I think. That way, what we see in Episode 9 makes more sense, and that is not having her at all. If they cut back her scenes in Episode 8 and they tone down her presence, then what happens in Episode 9 will make more sense. Because what if you have all these scenes of her in Episode 8 and then suddenly she's just gone, completely gone, without any explanation? So, of course, you know, Disney, the team, the writing team, Kathleen Kennedy, they've all met up. They have plans to make the appropriate changes. I just hope that whatever they do concludes this Skywalker saga in a very appropriate and tasteful way, and in a way that really pleases everybody. I just hope that they do it right. That's the number one thing. I hope that they do it right. I hope that they do it justice. And I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm still open to the idea of a digital recreation of Carrie Fisher. I just am. Just because, like, if they can do it right, then they could actually do her proud. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode. $1 billion for Rogue One. I'm excited about Garrus Shrike appearing in the Han Solo film. And I just don't know who the Last Jedi is. Is it Leia? Most likely not. Is it Rey? It could be. Is it Luke Skywalker? Well, he is and was and has been the Last Jedi all along. So, who is it really? Let me know in the comments section below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. Right at the beginning of the movie, it just really didn't do a whole lot for me. I mean, there's some movies that, you know, they start off, they really capture your attention right